What's up, team? We're back with another video. We're going to go through the 1 rep max back squat today. We're not necessarily going through the squat. What we're going to go through is some of the metrics we need to consider when squatting. Let's start off today with a nice little warm-up. So usually in the class, as we go through a warm-up, we generally go through a general warm-up. That's just get to major muscle groups warm, get a little pulse rose you're in, and just get your mind nice and active depending on what time you're in. You know, maybe you're in the mornings, midday when you're kind of just getting to that point where we're having a little break, or the evenings when you've finished your work and you want to kind of just get in and get some squatting done. So we've done that. We're going to go through some bit more specificity. Today, we're going to go through some of the mobility drills that we use in the classes. First things first is I like to do this. I've been doing this for the past 6 or so weeks. It might not be specific to the squat, but it's something that we want to try and find some movability in. Whenever we do any mobility drills, one, we kind of force the hand of it, because I know for a fact that a lot of people day in, day out just don't feel they have time to mobilize. So we put them in the classes on a general basis that one, we know that everyone's doing it, and two, one of the things that I'm doing is one of these drills here where we kind of just have one hand over, one hand under, all right? And then we want to try and see progressions, so then we get to a point where they're both relatively close together, okay? What I've been doing is 45 seconds aside of that. Same scenario, you go the other way and do the same, okay? You might find some changeability in one side to the other, all right? Just generally, again, because we're predominantly more one-sided than the other itself. Second drill is I'm getting a little bit of movement in the spine. So what I've been doing is using a PVC pipe or a bar, and I've been putting my hands on this in this position here, and I've then just been putting my head through, okay? I've just been stretching and loosening up the shoulders and the traps, again, as well, just getting some movability in the lats itself. Next thing I've been doing is the pigeon position. This is a great position here for someone to stretch out the hips, okay? And I kind of do this a lot, all right? I like to do things that I know you're going to get maximum output of, okay? And this is one of them. Again, any stretch we do in and around about a minute to 45 seconds, and then we just then swap over. Then we've been threading the needle. So first things first, this hand goes over the head. You're then going to drop your shoulder down, and then from there, open up and rotate. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to unlock a little bit more by actually threading the needle. So hand comes through, rotate, and then open up. What I've been doing is 2 sets of around about 5 to 7 reps. And then moving on, I've been then doing some ankle work. So again, just getting the ankle warm, getting some movement in it. It's quite a rigid set of ligaments, so we want to try and get some movement. What I've been doing is I've been internally pushing my knee forward into the middle, like so, and then on the external side of my foot. And I've been doing this, again, 7 sets of this. Just, again, getting nice and warm, getting some movability. The more range of motion you get, the better, okay? All right, then, team. So a few safety features we need to consider when squatting. Okay, 1, if we're sharing a rack, we want to make sure that the rack is at the right height, okay? That's the first safety feature. With this, it's a little high. I'm going to show you what's kind of not to do. So once we've squatting in and out of the rack, what you don't want to be doing is coming onto your tiptoes to get in and out the rack. If you imagine you've got maybe 100 kilos on the bar here, enjoy trying to do a calf raise, getting that bar on the rack like so. We don't want to be in this position here doing this, okay? We need to be at 1 with the rack. We need to know exactly where we're moving and how we're moving, okay? So I've got the rack now at a lower point. Gives me the ability to come in and out of the rack safely by then partially squatting out. I'll do my sets, and then when I walk, I'm walking straight back into the rack and coming down. I don't need to look. I know exactly through feel whereabouts the bar should be, okay? Secondly, what you shouldn't be doing is if you are with a partner, you shouldn't be getting that person to help you rack a bar on, okay? One of the most dangerous things you can do, okay? Let the person that is on the rack control the movement, okay? With the squat, what we want to try and make sure is our hands are in the right position, all right? If you then look at the movement itself, if I was to go in the right position, which is in around just wider than shoulders, what I'm doing is I'm creating that nice upper torso tightness, okay? Elbows are in this position here. I'm nice and tight in the torso. If I was to then consider bringing my hands in this position where it's a little looser, what you're going to tend to find is the upper back's going to start to round. We haven't got that tightness in that upper back. So one of the things that does go is your neutral spine. So This is the position we need to be in. We're in a nice upright torso. So when we then squat, we're not getting out and then coming out in this sort of position here. We're nice and tight, okay? What I like to do beforehand is what's called a goblet squat. Goblet squats are great, keeping that upright torso position, okay? Also as well, having some weight acting as a counterbalance in that rack position, so like so here, okay? Feet want to be around about hip width apart. Again, the wider you go, the different muscle groups work. The narrower you go, the different muscle groups work. Ideally, we're looking around about hip width apart, all right? Feet can be slightly turned out like so, okay? Then from there, as I say, sit our hips back and then stand, all right? It's just priming and warming that movement up as best we can. So as I say, guys, give these little squat progressions a go. Make sure you get thoroughly warm, ready for your sets, okay? What you don't want to do is, one, going blind physically, and also as well mentally going in blind. Make sure that you're visualizing what your feet are doing, what your ankles are doing, what your knees are doing, what your hips are doing, what your chest is doing. All of those need to be considered, especially when we're warming up. So we're warming our brains up as well as our bodies. As I say, guys, just enjoy the process. I'll see you in class.